Picture this. You unlock your phone for just 1 minute. A cat wearing sunglasses screams into the camera. You swipe. Now it's a medieval knight reviewing energy drinks. Swipe. A dancing crocodile in designer shoes. Swipe. Someone spends 3 hours explaining why a fictional character is Sigma. Before you know it, 45 minutes have disappeared. It feels ridiculous, almost embarrassing. People joke about it with one simple phrase: I have brain rot. But here's the fascinating part. What if this strange modern feeling isn't actually new? What if humans have been vulnerable to brain rot for tens of thousands of years? Long before smartphones, long before electricity, long before civilization itself? Because beneath every viral meme, every endless scroll, and every bizarre trend lies a question that scientists are only beginning to answer. Why is the human brain so easily hijacked? The world's most powerful machine. The human brain weighs about 1.4 kilograms. It runs on roughly the energy of a light bulb, yet inside that tiny space exists the most complex known object in the universe. Around 86 billion neurons, hundreds of trillions of connections. A machine capable of composing symphonies, landing robots on Mars, or watching someone wash a rug for 37 consecutive videos. How can both be true? The answer begins over 300,000 years ago. Imagine waking up on the African savanna. No supermarkets, no police, no hospitals. Every sound could mean food or death. Every rustle in the grass demanded attention. Ignoring something unusual could literally end your life. Your ancestors who noticed every movement, every strange color, every unexpected sound, were the ones who survived. Those who ignored novelty often didn't. Our brains became prediction machines, constantly asking one question: is this important? That instinct kept us alive. Today, it keeps us refreshing social media. Why your brain loves randomness. Think about a slot machine. Most of the time, nothing happens, but occasionally, jackpot. Psychologists call this variable reward. It turns out it's one of the most powerful learning systems ever discovered. In the 1950s, psychologist B.F. Skinner found that animals worked much harder for unpredictable rewards than guaranteed ones. Not because they were irrational, because uncertainty itself became exciting. Now think about your phone. You refresh. Maybe it's boring. Refresh again. A hilarious meme. Refresh. Nothing. Refresh. A message from someone you like. Refresh. Breaking news. Refresh. Another meme. Every swipe is a tiny lottery ticket. Your brain keeps thinking, maybe the next one. The surprising part? Most social media feeds work remarkably similarly. Memes are ancient. People often treat memes like they're uniquely modern. They're not. Long before the internet, stories spread exactly the same way. A catchy joke, a memorable phrase, a funny face, a strange dance. Anthropologist Richard Dawkins even coined the word meme in 1976 to describe ideas that spread through imitation, much like genes spread through reproduction. The internet didn't invent memes. It became the fastest meme machine humans have ever created. Think about cave paintings, religious symbols, nursery rhymes, urban legends, even the phrase "knock on wood." These are all cultural ideas copied from one mind to another. The difference today isn't that memes exist, it's that billions compete for your attention every second. Why weird wins? Have you noticed something? The internet rarely rewards normal. Instead, the stranger something is, the more unforgettable it becomes. Why? Because our brains evolved to notice anomalies. A blue bird? Normal. A purple bird with 2 heads? Impossible to ignore. Psychologists call this the von Restorff effect. Things that stand out become easier to remember. That's why absurd humor spreads so effectively. A crocodile wearing sneakers, a toilet singing opera, a dancing capybara. They're memorable precisely because they violate expectations. Your brain briefly stops and asks, wait, what? That tiny pause is attention, and attention is the most valuable currency on Earth. The attention economy. Here's something that would have sounded impossible just 50 years ago. Some of the richest companies in history don't primarily sell products. They sell human attention. Every second you spend looking at a screen creates value. Economists sometimes describe this as the attention economy. The longer platforms keep you engaged, the more advertisements you see, the more data they collect, the more accurately they can predict what keeps you watching. This doesn't necessarily mean someone is individually controlling every decision you make. Instead, recommendation systems continuously learn from billions of interactions to estimate what people are most likely to engage with. Often, that means content that is emotional, novel, funny, surprising, or outrageous. Exactly the kinds of things our ancient brains evolved to notice. Is brain rot actually making us less intelligent? This is where things become complicated. Many people worry that endless scrolling is destroying our intelligence. Some studies have found links between heavy digital media use and reduced sustained attention in certain contexts. Other researchers argue the evidence is mixed and that cause and effect are difficult to untangle. In other words, the science is still evolving. What seems more consistent is this. Our brains adapt to the environments we spend time in. Practice deep reading. You become better at deep reading. Practice constant interruption. Your mind becomes more accustomed to interruption. Neuroplasticity works both ways. The brain isn't permanently broken. It's constantly learning. The real question isn't whether technology changes us, it's how. The most dangerous illusion. Here's the twist. People often imagine they're making independent choices online, but recommendation systems are constantly responding to their behavior. Every pause, every click, every replay, every comment, the feed slowly becomes a mirror, reflecting your interests back at you. Over time, it can feel as though the internet simply knows what you want. In reality, it's making increasingly informed predictions, and the better those predictions become, the harder it can feel to stop scrolling. The real meaning of brain rot. So, is brain rot real? Not in the literal sense. Your brain isn't decaying because you laughed at a ridiculous meme, but the phrase captures something genuine. It reflects the feeling of losing control over your attention, of realizing you opened your phone with a purpose, and somehow ended up watching videos about topics you never intended to explore. The strange thing is, your ancestors would have understood that feeling, not because they had smartphones, but because they had brains shaped by survival. Brains wired to chase novelty, to seek social information, to notice the unexpected. Those instincts once protected us from predators. Today, they can keep us scrolling long after midnight. The ending nobody expects. The next time you hear someone say, "I have brain rot," remember this. The internet didn't invent the human brain. It discovered how it works. Every meme, every viral trend, every endless scroll is built on instincts that evolved across hundreds of thousands of years. The same brain that painted caves, built pyramids, wrote poetry, split the atom, and walked on the moon can also spend 20 minutes watching a raccoon steal sandwiches. Maybe that's not proof that humanity is getting dumber. Maybe it's proof that the world's most intelligent species is still running ancient software in a world that updates every single day. And perhaps the most valuable skill of the future won't be learning how to get more information. It will be learning how to decide which information deserves your attention in the first place.